scared what's going to happen in your future. Without a crystal ball, I assume. What's going to be your next set of journeys? Some of you are going to be doctors, it says here. Some of you are going to join the military. Some of you are just going to study, right? Have you seen this? You have not seen this? They didn't give you a program? For what? We got this from you. You don't have one? Can someone help me get some programs for the graduates, since they're without anything? The crib notes of your future are right here, summed up in just a few words of what's going to come next in your life. Some of you may these things, and most of you are going to change. Some of you are planning on doing one thing, and that may exactly how it comes to be. For others of you, you will go off to college or your next steps, and what you plan to do changes. My first career choice was to be a civil engineer. That was my plan. Didn't I? And after a year or so in civil engineering studies, I went to laboratory medicine. I was going to make the big bucks selling medical equipment. Didn't happen. Medical equipment, nor the big bucks. Until I finally surrendered to the knock that God had on the door of my life. And I finally opened the door and said, okay, Lord, what do you want me to do? And it forever changed my life. Some of you might be pursuing things because it's what your parents do. You're interested in that. Others of you are doing the exact opposite of whatever your parents did or do now in order to show your own individuality. Some of you perhaps have already started venturing into your career path potentially and have enjoyed it. When I was in high school, I was able to go and visit the hospital. My next door neighbor was a laboratory technologist, so I got to see a little bit about what she did. And in college, I did the same thing. So I get a little taste of it, so to speak. Others of you are pursuing perhaps things because of what you think you're going to make in these career studies in the future. Some of you have been told you would be a great whatever. But what's going to happen in your future, you don't know. The next steps of your life are going to be just that, steps in your life. And that's okay. Because ultimately you're called to surrender to the will of God in your life. I truly believe that's where we're ultimately happy. Otherwise, it's all about us. It's all about me and what I want and desire. Over the years, people have shared with me, Father, I'm having all these roadblocks in my life. And I'm just pushing right through to get through these roadblocks or these hurdles in my life because I have a path that I'm going to follow. And I tell them, they're not always hurdles. Sometimes they're huge signs saying, stop, detour, this is the wrong path. This has happened with couples in marriage. I had a guy that came to me one time with a woman he was going to marry. They met with me a few times. They quit. A year later, he comes back with a new woman. And they're happily married. Because sometimes what we think we want is not always the best for us. And it may not be what God wants for us. In today's second reading, we hear that God makes all things new. And you guys are heading off into a wonderful new horizon, whatever that may be. When I left for college at 18, I never moved back home. It's not that my parents didn't have a place for me to come back to. I just never moved back. I continued my life. I worked during the summers, lived other places, saw new things. And it was great for me because I learned how to be very independent. Some of you are perhaps not going away to college, or you're still going to be with your family, whatever it may be. God has a plan for you to make things new yet again in your life. And your job is to say what to what God asks of you. It's just an easy answer. Yes. Whatever God asks of you, the answer is always going to be, and should be, yes. Because whatever God has in store for you is what? Good. And in fact, the best. The problem is we get in the way of that. We get in the way of what God is calling us to life because of our own desires, what we think is best for us, or what we think that is going to be the best for us. Because I know people who have pursued exactly what they wanted to do and are absolutely miserable doing it. I know there are priests that are absolutely miserable because they thought that's what they wanted to do, was to be a priest. There are people who are engineers who are absolutely miserable at being an engineer, but they thought is what they wanted to do. This is not what I wanted to do. I can tell you, it was not what I wanted to do. I was planning on making big bucks, retiring at 55. It's not happening. But I am truly happy and joyful in what God has called me to. And there will be ups and downs in your life, good and bad. You'll have failures, but I hope the successes outweigh those failures. And when you fail, get back up and try something new. You will disappoint your parents at times. I know that hasn't happened yet. But you will disappoint your parents. And you know what? I'm going to tell you a secret. Your parents disappointed their parents. They failed. They had moments of difficulty and struggle because it's what we all experience in life. God has a plan for you. And your job is to cooperate with what God is calling you to in your life. You know, some of you are perhaps going off to college and going, oh, I don't have to go to church anymore. Oh, praise Jesus. For me, it was just the opposite. I didn't go to Mass in high school. My mom, I was the last of 6 kids. My mom was just like, oh, God, once you got confirmed, I don't care anymore. We didn't have a youth program, nothing after 8th grade confirmation. I went back to Mass in college. You know why? Not because of this, because they had food. And it was free. Every Sunday night we went to Mass and had free food. It's great. But that's what got me back into my life of faith, was sub sandwiches on Sunday night at the Newman Center on campus. God used that to get me back. I know it's easy to say, oh, I'm going away, I don't have to do anything. I'm not under the stresses and demands of my parents. Your relationship with God, every single moment of your life, whether you're at home or away at school, whether you're at home or overseas. Who's traveling? Someone said they're going to be traveling, plans to travel. Are they here? You guys even know what you wrote. My Lord. Whatever may happen, God will be with you in the midst of it all. But it takes work to maintain that relationship. Work, time, and energy to devote your relationship with God. It's not magic. We're here for you. This is your home. It will always be your home, wherever you may go. You need anything? Call me. I know this, I hope this doesn't happen, but I've offered it to every graduate group that I talk to. If you ever get arrested, call me. I'll bail you out. I hope it never happens. Don't take me up on my offer just because, okay? If you ever need anything, assistance, guidance, to be a mediator between you and your parents, call us. God has amazing plans for you. And I want you to be successful in that. I want you to be successful in saying yes to what God is calling you in your life. Because if you're successful in that, you'll be successful in everything else. In saying yes to what God is trying to bring to you anew in your life.